So I promised y'all that I was going to revisit. Let me make sure that's right. I told y'all that I was going to revisit this conversation because I wanted to know where all of the jobs was going. And they keep telling us, shout out to my dog Dre 631. Let me read this super chat shortly. Why don't you support your brother? He's not rich. Who? Umar Johnson? Umar Johnson? Are you talking about Umar Johnson? Hold on. Who? Umar? Gotta be. I don't know what you talking about. I don't know what you talking about. Who is my brother? Who is my brother? Dre 631. Tell me who my brother is, and then I'll address it specifically. But anyways, I told y'all that I wanted to revisit this because we was having a lot of conversations about whether or not we have jobs. We also had a conversation about black jobs because y'all was offended at the debate when they started addressing black jobs. Y'all was offended at the debate when they was talking about black jobs, remember? And so I was trying to figure out, listen, is it a lack of opportunity? Is it a lack of jobs? Is it a lack of, things that's going on that could keep people occupied, or people just intentional? And then where do all of these people fit in? You know what I'm saying? Where does the people fit into this equation as far as these migrants? I'm always curious. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I want to share with y'all what's happening all across the country, but we're going to use this one location in order to illustrate our point. Check it out.
On today's menu in this New York City kitchen, a chance at a better life. Head chef Candy is teaching her students the art of slicing and mincing. But this isn't just any cooking class. Each student here comes from another country, newly arrived and seeking asylum, as one of millions of migrants who've crossed the border in search of the American dream.
Tuvimos que salir porque no teníamos otra opción. Era salir de Venezuela o era morirnos allá.
38-year-old Escarly fled Venezuela with her daughters, where she says the government seized the restaurant she owned.
El gobierno nos quitó todo, nos quitó los sueños y decidí viajar para acá a buscar mejor oportunidad de vida.
Her classmate, 41-year-old Maria, fled Ecuador after her husband passed away, making the treacherous journey to the U.S. with her mother and children.
Teníamos muchos problemas a raíz de que mi esposo falleció. Entiende todo lo que está pasando en el país de Ecuador. No está segura la vida de nadie.
Both women now enrolled in English language courses and kitchen training at New York City's
So now you're starting to see some of the final form of our federal government and why they, even in a debate, refuse to address why we left our borders open and the migrant crisis. Let me say that again. Why we left our borders open in the migrant crisis. I want y'all to also understand that when they go to these English classes and they go to the hospital and they get their checkups and they get Medicare and Medicaid and they get their on-site job training in order to replace you, they're literally having programs training them for all kinds of jobs. And this is not the only type of job. This is just one example from one report that's basically letting y'all know, and I know that this is not something that y'all want to hear, they're telling you that they're training them for the things that you don't want to do. They're teaching them English, giving them health care, making sure that they have great living accommodations, and then they're also training them for the jobs that will eventually replace you because you don't want to do them. You don't want to be bothered with it. You don't want to get involved with it. They doing all of the things. They showing up every day. They giving them shirts. They says not bread kitchen, and all of that. They are training them for the jobs that you don't want to do or participate in. And it's happening everywhere. They giving them licenses. The license look just like yours. They giving them places to stay. They also teaching their parents English while the kids are at school with your children on your dime. on your dime. It's with your money. All of this, you're funding it. And they won't even tell you what's going on. They just going to implement the plan and they're going to make sure that it happens. I remember years ago, Elon Musk said, man, you know what the biggest problem is in this country? He didn't say it was finances. He didn't say it was the war in Ukraine. He didn't say it was a national debt. He didn't say it was crime in the communities. You know what Elon Musk said? You know what Elon Musk said? December 7th, 2021. December 7th, 2021. I talked about it. But see, I got the memory of an elephant, so I don't not remember. I remember every single thing that I talk about on these platforms. Sometimes it takes for certain situations for me to eventually be able to jog my memory and bring me back forward with it. And then I can say, oh, okay, I remember that. I remember saying that. I remember what was going on with that. I talked about it. Elon Musk, December 7th, 2021. I literally just looked this up and pulled it up. He says, civilization is going to crumble if people don't have more children. Rapidly declining birth rates is one of the biggest risks to civilization. His comments come as a growing number of people are deciding not to have children, citing concerns such as climate change and inequality. Musk added that too many good, smart people think that there are too many people in the world and that the population is growing out of control. He said there is not enough people. There's not enough people. He went into the whole thing. He urged people to look at the data and he says, let me go into this. UCLA researchers shown that the number of births in the U.S. fell 9 months following an extreme heat event, while a study of 18,000 couples in China last year showed that climate change and a particulate population or pollution specifically was associated with a 20% increase of likelihood of infertility. And then they made the pitch and they basically said that we need more people. Basically what they're telling you is that we need more workers. We need more workers. And then in other interviews and in other articles, he stated that specifically we needed more people here in the United States of America. So this is what happens. As we become more educated, we start to make better decisions. Because the reality is that there always needs to exist a slave culture. And I hate to give it to you that bluntly, but I'm just going to tell you the truth. There needs, when people, I have these conversations and I say, hey man, you need to do this, make the adjustment or whatever, so on and so forth. And they say, well, Anton, everybody can't be a millionaire. And I say, I know, but that doesn't have to be you. You could be one of the ones that benefit from it if you take advantage of this opportunity. Who gonna move the chairs? Who gonna take out the trash? Who gonna do our door dashes? Who gonna be our delivery drivers? Who gonna be the people that run the restaurants? It'll be few that make it out and they wind up becoming incredibly successful. But for most of these people, we need them. We need them to make our pencils. We need them to put together our iPads. We need them to make our chips. We need a culture of people that are going to do the jobs that we don't necessarily want to do because we've quote unquote graduated and we're no longer feeling as though this is good for us. We need people in the meat plants. We need farmers, even people that run the equipment. When you, as a person that don't have resources, make an egregious decision to have children out of wedlock, or you have children in poverty, you are contributing to the economy of the United States of America because we know the data and the statistics, and the data and the statistics are saying that your kid ain't gonna be shit. Your kid has a higher chance of not being about shit than they do have of being of shit. I'm just gonna give it to you real. And so because we know your kid ain't gonna be nothing, then all we need to do is give them the ability to be able to do a minimal amount to make them feel like they can climb out of poverty and into the middle class. And that's what the term middle class comes from. It's the group of people that pay all of the taxes, are not smart enough, or is operating out of ignorance and thinking that just because they hit a number, that doesn't mean that they're actually progressing and they're not keeping anything. We need those people to keep buying cars, right? Because that's what keeps the economy humming. We need these people to continue to run up the credit cards. We need these people to keep going to work, to feel like they're actually going to jump out of the poverty-stricken lifestyle that they were in. And so in order to do that, we got to have more people, and we got to have people doing the dumb stuff. Just as many people. If you don't have people committing crimes, you don't have police officers. If you don't have people going out there and financing, then you don't have banks, right? And so it's basically an entire economy based off of the fact that you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And so if you're not going to do it and you're going to continue to educate yourself and be smarter about it, and you don't want to do the labor jobs, then we got to bring in people that actually fill these jobs and fill these workers and do what they got to do and take care of business. We need people to buy cars. We need people to ultimately buy licenses and license plates and get insurance and get banks and loans and finance their lives and do all of this stuff, right? You need people to buy the pans and make the pans. You need coffee makers and coffee making machines, and you need permits and housing, and you got to keep this Ponzi scheme rolling, big dog. It's an entire system, an entire ecosystem that's made that ultimately allows for me to get richer, and for you, because now that you know, to make a better decision and get richer, and then allow for them to toil away with the hope and the dream and the possibility of one day making it out. For a better opportunity for the American dream. The white picket fence and a dog and the 2 children and a wife and the retirement and then the traveling. We need people to travel, so we got to give them jobs. And this is how we going to do it.
Annie Cantor Community Center through a program provided by the nonprofit Hot Bread Kitchen.
We use the food industry as a catalyst for economic mobility.
The Culinary Career Pathways for New Yorkers program accepts migrants with temporary protected status or work authorization permits, giving them the skills for a stable future.
What are you hearing about why they want to take part in this?
The migrants and asylum seekers that we are working with want to be independent. They want to have agency. They want to work.
And there are jobs to be filled.
The challenge for us now is there's so many jobs open that it actually has potential to cripple our economy if we don't find more people to take.
She's telling you directly out of her mouth. Kathy Hochul is telling you, listen to what she's saying.
That's to be filled.
The challenge for us now is there's so many jobs open that it actually has potential to cripple our economy if we don't find more people to take these jobs. It is that dire.
The New York State Department of Labor.
I'm going to play it one more time because I know that y'all don't like to pay attention.
It's open. That it actually has. The challenge for us now is there's so many jobs open that it actually has potential to cripple our economy if we don't find more people to take.
You will sit there and say, Anton, it ain't no jobs. We done sent out all of the resumes. No, there's no jobs that you want. There's jobs, just not the jobs that you want to do and that you want. Yeah, it's plenty of jobs. It's so many jobs that's available, but it's not any of the jobs that you want to do, because if you do that, then you're not going to be able to fly out your city girls. You know what I'm saying?
These jobs. It is that dire.
The New York State Department of Labor has identified more than 45,000 jobs open to migrants and asylum seekers as part of a statewide initiative led by Governor Kathy Hochul. 20% of businesses who say they're willing to hire the new arrivals are in the food and hospitality industry. The Hot Bread Kitchen culinary program, now training its second cohort, only growing in popularity.
We've had 800 applications to date for somewhere between 60 and 75 spots.
Maria and Scarley thrilled to be enrolled.
La niña más pequeña de 10 años me dice que ella se siente feliz por tener una chef como mamá.
And anxious to prove themselves.
Para poder demostrar que no vinimos a hacer carga, sino a aportar con lo mucho o lo poco que nosotros podamos aportar acá a este país.
After 6 weeks of training in an industrial kitchen like this, members will graduate and go on to work in restaurants and even bakeries all around New York City. Holson Patisserie, a Brooklyn-based bakery, hired program graduates Carlos and Brianna, working to fulfill their dreams.
No conseguía empleo, realmente se me dificultaba mucho y después del programa pues realmente solo salí y a la siguiente semana ya comencé a trabajar.
Each graduate learning the recipe for a successful future.
Quiero seguir escalando hasta llegar muy alto.
Valerie Castro, NBC News.
Thanks for. So now that you know the play, or some of the play, because there's more to it than that, and now that you're aware of what you're going to do about it. Let me